for me, the word that comes up is injustice. It's so unfair. And the feeling that I get is, well, it pisses me off. So that's the surface feeling of things. We're gonna go and explore that way deeper. So we're gonna tap into that the base chakra, the first energy center, where it's the foundation, where safety is touch. And that reminds me of a little story that happened to me last year. And that's what I became aware of, that safety zone. I was in a summit. It's visionary summit, so it's people that are, very, how can I say, very spiritual, very loving, very inclusive, and it was majority of people were white women. There was a few men, of course, and some women of color. And I noticed at the beginning, right the first day, the energy was pretty amazing. Like I could feel energy very well, and I was impressed how we were all feeling very grounded, and it felt really like I realized, I told myself, I was like, wow, I feel like I'm at home, like I feel good. And I really love this. And very soon in the afternoon, we started doing a workshop in smaller group. And then there was this beautiful Hispanic Latina woman. She was full of emotion and tears, and she was expressing how it was one of the first time that she really felt safe in a group where there's a majority of white women. And I was listening to her testimonial, and I was shocked that she was saying that the first reaction pretty much all the time where she goes is to look for a woman of color for safety. And I was like, wow. And that's how I understood later on, like someone explained to me what is actually like the white privilege. And I was like, wow, I was totally unaware that someone would just go in a group sometime. And of course I understand this feeling that we're a little bit like, oh, we don't know, we're feeling maybe insecure a little bit, but to the point where it's actually we're looking for safety. I mean, I feel like I was a threat to her, and that kind of really shake my world. So I want to address that zone of safety. After I met with her one-on-one, and because the way I understand healing work, I said, oh my God, I want to help her, right? So I ended up connecting with this lady, and I did some process with her, but over there the energy was so potent, right? Because of the group that we were in. So it was very interesting that when we ended up at a step where she was needed, like she wanted to say, I want white women allies, that helped me. And right then when she started processing that and absorbing and making this her new reality, boom, there's a white lady that came, and we totally connected. And she was actually divorcing this white lady. She was divorcing our supremacist husband.
Our goal is to see lasting transformation for all of our children. But we know that in order for children to thrive, their families must thrive. And in order for families to thrive, they must live in communities that offer equitable opportunities. And so that's where this work of racial healing fits with us and the National Day of Racial Healing. Because we believe before we can work together to improve education, transform the criminal justice system, expand access to health care, create jobs, or make our communities more equitable overall, we have to confront how racism affects our shared history and our daily experiences. So it may be tempting to skip over what we call the people work. And some people even call it soft. But personally, I tell you, it's the most difficult work that we do, but we have to make sure that while we're creating the change that we seek for our families and communities, we have to overcome differences. We have to bridge divides and heal relationships so that we can work together first and foremost. And that's what we mean by healing. At the Kellogg Foundation, we say healing is at the heart of racial equity. So healing is a tool, and it's also an experience of helping us see one another's humanity fully. And it allows us to build authentic relationships, trusting relationships, and we believe it's absolutely necessary for this relationship in order to make the change that we all dream of making in this nation.
I really truly believe that this depth of work is really what creates change in people, and it's a very, I mean, it is what's going on right now. It's like it's a social phenomena, but it's like we have to transform one person at a time, and we have to go deeper into the belief. And I think ancestor work is really important to address here. The ancestral, and it's part of the history of the world, and there's a whole lot of baggage there. So I wanted to address that. Some people are unaware of all those chains that we have from attached to those ancestors. So the whole history, it concerns everybody, and every part of our soul is also connected together. So we're part of the collective, all of us together. So it's a social, I would say, social behavior, social conditioning that exists, and it's a social phenomena. So we need people also in the social to connect as group like this. And there's a different ways to bring healing, but usually we need like open heart. And in my healing technique, I like to go a little bit deeper to be able to kind of dismantle the area where we're kind of stuck, because when we all have baggage from the ancestors, and consciously or unconsciously we carry that into our lives, and that sometimes it's a huge blockage that we have, that we're not seeing. We seeing life through those lenses, and unless we transform the belief behind, then we can start seeing the world in a different light. This is our tribes, our family lines. So we carry their baggage to our life, and we take their baggage out of love. It's done unconditionally, unconsciously. It just happened. We take the baggage and we carry that, and sometimes we don't even see through those lenses because it is part of us. So now today, with this deeper work, we are able to recognize sometimes some of those lenses, so some of those vision or repressed feelings that some of our ancestors may have lived and go through. And what we have to do here, and is a very important work that we do, because even if those ancestors have passed and they are dead, so they're no more in this part of this life, if we free ourselves, we free them as well. So this is like when we do the work for them also, and we also do the work for our future generation.
Storm said, "I'm not saying we won't be outraged and upset about the racial injustices we face every day. We have every right to feel the way we do, but we can't neglect unconditional love. That's what I feel like is going to win at the end of the day. One word, love. Love over hate, love over indifference, and love over ignorance." What a beautiful statement.
Thank you.
At the time of 15-year-old.
I still feel the same way. I feel like we won't be able to make a change without love. And in the conversation of racial healing, I feel like that's the first step, is is acknowledging that, yes, marginalized people, and specifically Black and brown people, have been disproportionately penalized for countless years, and it still continues to happen. But conversations like this and safe spaces like this will be able to progress. But even with that being said, if we don't have the unconditional love for ourselves, then how are we going to be able to love the people around us? And the only way we can make change is the willingness to be uncomfortable. So I'm willing to be uncomfortable to make generations to come comfortable, and they won't have to go through the same things that we are going through at the time right now.
I feel like there's a lot of people that they don't know how much that deep work can change their lives. Sometimes they want to do action on the outside and be active in different groups and do different things, but like my understanding with the healing work that I do is the work and the transformation comes from within. I feel like this type of work is really what brings freedom for people to, it's really a deep transformation. And then when you go in the world after done this type of work, you notice some changes. Mm-hmm. It changes the lenses you're looking at the world through it will be a little different. You might notice different things. So it's really interesting. And that's why I really enjoy doing that deep work, because you actually see transformation in real time.
Unity and solidarity is what this country needs right now.
So what happened earlier this week, it's something that maybe was necessary. So I like to believe that George Floyd didn't die. It died from some nonsense, but because of that event that happened, it creates a huge wave of unity and solidarity on the planet. So he sacrificed his life as being a victim, but in the big picture of things, he did it's a very act of service, that he sacrificed his life in order for the world to change. And I am taking that as an act of service to wake up. And that's how I got also inspired to create this course, because for me, it's like, enough is enough, no more. We need to be more involved as a collective here. So that's enough. And that 10-day course came to life because of all of this. The 10-day course journey that I'm putting out. So it's 10 days of transformation every day. So why 10 days? Because I think we really need to go into the layers, of this issue that we see on the society with the discrimination with the skin tones. And just doing one healing or two healing sessions, I don't think it's sufficient. It's really kind of deep core work that needs to take place. And we got to go into the ancestors work as well, the self-love. We got to look into relationship, we really have to come together as a community, and there's a lot of different aspects that needs to be healed. So we're going to pay attention and look at all the different aspects. And also what I want to say is those 10 days are a building block to one another. We're going to focus more on self-love, which is the foundation of this whole course and all the inner work. So loving yourself first, loving all the different barriers sometimes we can have, it does different things. So first of all, if you want people to actually include you, to love you, you got to love yourself first. Already from the first session that we've done the other day, which was just kind of a entry level, general intro, I've been myself feeling deeper. We touched some of the ancestral baggage a little bit. So I saw the next day, I started feeling more some of the barrier that my family ties had. And I was like, oh, interesting, right? So when you start looking at those, putting your attention and opening, because with the love, we opening up barriers, then it comes to the surface when they are ready. So sometimes we don't necessarily to have to go get them. We open the path and they show up. And then the barriers will show up, like the belief system will come up, and we'll be able to explore that. But the self-love is really a foundation to be able to look at ourselves, the different aspect of ourselves, with so much love that when they show up, instead of resisting them, so instead of pushing them away, say, oh, I don't want to see this, then we're already having a little bit like a default behavior of self-love, and we opening and we're able to appreciate that creation, because it's all different type of creation that's there. And by becoming more in command of ourselves, then we can say, oh, look at this creation here. Oh, well, thank you for showing that to me, right? But I'm in command and I can choose something else. So we can, and this is what we actually do with the ancestors, we can look at the baggage that comes up, and then we say, oh, thank you very much for showing this to you. You know, that was your experience, that was your belief system that got transmitted to my line of blood and to my reality unconsciously. But when we become aware of that, we can say, you know what, thank you, take your baggage back, thank you very much, and I will choose my own reality, which obviously we try to be more inclusive to one another. We more aware with the movement of evolution on the planet that we, you know, we're just humans being coming up in a different vehicle, different color of skin. So it's really not a big deal. And then when we start having that kind of perception and understanding of that we are a spiritual being, then, you know, it really changed the way we see the world, and we can choose what we want to believe. And this is what I called living deliberately, because you choose how you want to live your life. And in one of the courses that I've been taking in the past, which was very interesting in regards to the belief system, because there's different type of belief system. So there was like 4 of them, 1, 2, 3. The first 3 ones were based on the past. So basically, you will have to have an experience, and then you start making a conclusion, and then that creates a belief on its own. But what was really interesting is the 4th type of belief is that you don't have the proof yet. So you choose what you want to believe first, and then you're in the process of seeing that creation manifested in the physical world. So that is very interesting, because then you become really, this is what I call, you live deliberately. You choose what you want to see in the world, in your reality, in your life, but you choose to believe it first. And it means that you also have to get be free of all the conditioning belief that hold, that goes against that new creation that you want to create. So that's this is basically where we're going with this line of work. But we got to do some dirty work. They call it people work. It's not an easy type of work to be done. It takes courageous people to be willing to observe, to look down, to really look at themselves. But there's a really good news in this is we only need a small percentage of all the people on the planet to really see an impact on the consciousness. And we're already in the good movement. Don't get me wrong, this type of work is actually very challenging. It's not necessarily easy to go within. I mean, this whole society is based on pretty much a lot of distractions to prevent us from really go see within what we're holding. But once we actually choose to do that kind of inner work, that's where we're actually changing our viewpoints, we're changing our belief system, and it's a consciousness work, so it connects with the whole collective consciousness, and that's where the real change happens.